Hello everyone and welcome to another webinar. Today's webinar is special one for all the students who are pursuing their courses and have completed their courses. Today's webinar will be full of opportunities to all the students. And I have Vishal who will be a moderator for today's webinar. So let's call Vishal on the stage. Hey
Hi,
Vishal.
hello. What's
So
happening?
how everything is fine, man. What about you?
I'm also fine.
Okay. So I am really excited for today's webinar.
Yes, me too, me too. Today's webinar is very special. The reason why we are calling it special is because इतने time हम लोग जो webinar जितने webinars हम लोग अभी तक conduct किए, every Saturday we come to you, we show you different things. Unreal सिखा रहे हैं, 3D Max सिखा रहे हैं, कभी modeling हो रहा है. But then the last point where everything boils down to is कि ये सब सीखने के बाद what are the opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So today we are taking this chance or this opportunity that we also have created an opportunity for all our students. After learning all of these things, what needs to be done, then we have opened up a opportunity which is for an internship. Now this internship is with a very big company, and it's not only national but also an international company. And just for details about what exactly this company is and what are these opportunities, we'll be having this webinar for today. So आज हम लोग कुछ सिखाने वाले नहीं है, but आज हम तुमको ये बताने वाले हैं कि ये सीखने के बाद आपको अभी के लिए कौन से opportunities है. And for which we have a very special guest today. Just a little bit about the guest. He's Mr. Surojit Roy, who is a co-founder of FireScore Interactive and who is also affiliated as a center head for CrayzLabs India.
Okay.
Now, what is CrayzLabs India? Now, CrayzLabs India is one of is ranked about third amongst three in casual and hyper casual mobile game developers and publishers.
Okay.
They have created around 3.8 billion downloads for games like Acrylic Nails, I Can Paint, Tie Dye, Soap Cutting, and many more. Now, what is this hyper casual games and what all these things are? That's the whole thing which we'll be speaking in this webinar. So I would suggest जितने भी viewers हमको आज देख रहे हैं, any kind of questions you have, any kind of comments you want to put in, just use the comment box and share your feedbacks on this. As well as we are also announcing that after this webinar, we will also be giving you an opportunity to have an internship with CrazyLabs Studios. Now, what are those internship criteria and how you can grab this opportunity is what we'll be speaking in this today's webinar. Yeah, Amit?
Yeah, correct. So that makes this webinar a very interesting one, and I think every student should have a look at this webinar. Whoever is doing the course or pursuing the course or have completed the course, because this webinar will open the doors for them.
Definitely yes. So let's not waste any more time and let's get Mr. Surojit on the platform. Chetal.
Yeah.
Hi, Surojit.
Hey
Hello.
guys, so glad that you guys have me here, and I'm so excited to present this amazing opportunity to all your students.
Yeah, same here.
Same here. So before starting with the webinar, there are a few questions we would like to address. Like I am also eager to know, as well as Amit is also eager to know.
Yes.
So my first question is, can you just give us a little insight about gaming industry? Like how is it and what's happening?
Sure. So I think everyone will know, the last 8 months or so, that the gaming industry has been booming specifically because of the worldwide lockdowns that we've seen. There have been a lot of people that actually spent way more hours in the day playing games than they normally would. And also, we had a lot of newcomers into the industry, both on the developer side, lots of new companies being formed, and also on the players side. Like you may have seen a game called Among Us, for example. It became
Yes.
hugely popular in the last few months,
Yes.
and that is just one example of how the industry has completely changed. Like an
Yeah.
Among Us story may never have happened before the lockdown, but due to
Yeah.
these interesting changes and this evolution, we've seen some very interesting trends, and we've seen the gaming industry really start to boom.
Definitely.
One question from my side too. Tell us more about CrazyLabs.
Right. So Crazy Labs is a top 3, as Vishal was saying, is a top 3 publisher of casual games worldwide. And when I say casual games, I mean in the latest reports by one of the top ratings companies in the world, CrazyLabs was ranked at number 3, above companies like Miniclip, above Zynga, above some of the top game publishers worldwide, and it was ranked number 3. So CrazyLabs is one of the top publishers of all types of games. Casual games is their specialty, and in the last couple of years, ever since we started partnering with them, they have also become one of the top hyper casual game publishers worldwide.
All right,
Okay.
that's great. That's great. Uh, uh, a little bit about like so we all been playing games. I also have developed games. I also design games. So we just wanted to hear a little bit about what is this hyper casual games. Like we have heard about AAA games, we have heard about mobile games, but then when it comes to hyper casual, what really it means?
Right, of course. So hyper casual is a very new term in the industry, and many people may not have heard ये hyper casual क्या होता है.
Yeah.
But casual games have always been there before. Remember Candy Crush,
Yes.
Temple Run, Subway Surfer. These are all
Yeah.
casual games. But hyper casual games are even simpler than casual games.
Okay.
They are so simple. They need to be so simple that my 80-year-old grandmother or my 7-year-old nephew both should be equally good at playing the game. They should be able to pick up and play it as easily as each other, and of course it should appeal to everyone in between. So they're supposed to be super mass market games that anyone can pick up and play. And if you had to use an example, then I'd say it has to be way simpler than even a Candy Crush or a Temple Run.
Mhm.
All
Great,
right.
great.
That's perfect. So now without even getting more into the questions and wasting our your time, in fact, can you just elaborate, like we all are waiting to hear about the opportunity. What is this
In
internship
the
opportunity, and
intensive process.
Yeah.
how a person can actually acquire it?
Yeah.
Right. So I will go. Obviously, I'll go into more detail a little later. But just to give you a short brief on what the opportunity is, this is I wouldn't just call it an internship opportunity. It is an internship come incubation opportunity. Now, what does that mean? It means that we are going to be providing you with the knowledge base, the training, an entire syllabus. It's almost like a 3-month boot camp that we're doing, where you learn, you get paid to learn, so you get a stipend to actually come on board, come to the office, the campus that we're building right now. You will actually be trained to build hyper casual hit games from learn from a studio like ours that has 2 huge hit games in the last year. And not only will you get paid and be paid to learn, but you'll also have the opportunity to earn a profit share if you make a successful game during the time period of the program. And this again I'll go into a little bit more detail later on. But the intention is that we will train you, we will pay you, and if you work hard and if you're able to have some success with us, you have the opportunity to make very large amounts of money through profit share. And eventually, you will hopefully be able to maybe start your own company if you want to, with the proceeds that come from that successful game you make.
Great. So it's
Great,
like a
great.
very huge opportunity for all our students.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know that if I was in college, if I was studying, I would be jumping to try and become part of this because, as a 23, 24, 25, and if I'm in my mid 20s, I'm studying early 20s, and somebody told me that if I work hard, I learn what you're teaching me, you'll actually give me the chance to not just have a job, but build my own business and make huge amounts of money as a youngster. And those opportunities don't come until your 5, 10 years experience. You don't make that kind of money unless you spend 10 years in the industry and maybe work abroad. But here we are saying, guys, this is a chance to do it right now. Finish your education, jump right into this, and let's make something huge.
Yes, correct.
Great to hear that. So now I feel so. The whole stage is yours. Me and Amit should go backstage, and you can take the whole thing. All our audience to what exactly what is this whole opportunity about?
All right, fantastic. So I'm just going to open up my presentation, and I'll jump right into what we want to speak about, and we'll
Sure,
go over everything. All
sure,
right,
sure.
right. Okay, so this is the agenda for today. We'll be talking about Crazy Labs. We'll be talking deeper about what is hyper casual as a genre, what kind of games encompass hyper casual, what is hyper casual, the business side of things. So, what is the business model like? How does it work? How do we all make money in the process? Then we'll be talking a little bit about one of our hit games, which is called Acrylic Nails, and then we'll close it off by talking about the actual opportunity that we want to present you. Following which, we can of course take questions. Now, let's jump right into it. So, who is Crazy Labs? Like I was saying, Crazy Labs is a top 3 publisher of casual games worldwide. With over 3.5 billion downloads across all of their games, they have been ranked as number 3 just in the last 1 week or so. As you can see, Crazy Labs is ranked above Zynga. They're ranked above a lot of big publishers, and they're only beaten by 2 other hyper casual game publishers called Voodoo and AppLovin. The games that Crazy Labs produces are really awesome to play. They're very satisfying experiences. You can see some of their icons at the top of the screen. There's soap cutting. There's a game called Dentist Bling. There's a game called Tie Dye, Acrylic Nails, I Can Paint, ASMR Slicing. You name it. They have a whole bunch of games out there on the App Store and the Play Store for you to play. Um, their Crazy Labs has multiple verticals, meaning they do different types of games. They have the casual game lab, which is what they used to do before. They have the hyper casual game lab, which is what they're mostly focusing on now, and another top secret vertical, which I can't tell you too much about, but which you will find out more about if you ever join our program. Now, what is a hyper casual game? As we were speaking about before with Vishal, a hyper casual game is supposed to be a mass market game, meaning it is supposed to appeal to everyone and anyone who could possibly have a mobile phone or who could, have the ability to download a game. These games are built for anyone from the age of 5 to 7 to even the age of 80. Anyone should be able to play it. You need to be able to show your grandmother the game, and she should be able to actually understand the controls and know what the game is all about. So let's jump into a few features of hyper casual games. Hyper casual games have mass appeal. Like I said, you'll notice that most of the games here have a lot of bright colors, a lot of bright elements, a lot of friendly, vibrant themes to them. A farm, you'll see a summer theme, there'll be a water slide. At the end there, you see a game about cutting soaps, which is actually one of the games that we made at FireScore Interactive. So all hyper casual games have mass appeal, and they're supposed to actually appeal to anyone and everyone. Now, another element of hyper casual games is that every hyper casual game usually has some kind of wow effect. And I will show you some examples of what I mean by this. But every time at the end of a level, we usually see that a game has some kind of wow or fantastic effect that makes you, even within the simplicity of the game, it still makes you go, oh my God, that is amazing. Usually a hyper casual game, actually almost all the time, a hyper casual game will have one finger controls, meaning it won't ask you to move your finger all over the phone screen. It won't ask you to play with 2 hands. It won't ask you to play with 2 fingers also. It will just ask you to control the entire game. No matter what you do within the game should be done with one finger. This means that it should be easy to play, under the table in a meeting, or maybe even in a classroom, or sometimes just when you're traveling, like you can see the guy there holding on to a phone in the train, and that's how you would be holding the phone. So you want to make it easy for people, no matter where they are, to be able to pick up and play a hyper casual game. So you'll usually see simple single finger controls. Hyper casual games also usually don't have many menus and pop-ups and things like that. They will jump directly into the experience of the game. So regardless of what the game is, you'll never see a hyper casual game which starts off with a pop-up asking you to enter your name. You'll never see one which has a registration form. You'll never see one which has anything that stops you from getting into the game. Usually you open the game, immediately it throws you into the actual core gameplay of the game. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about hyper casual as a business model, meaning what is the business side of things. Now, usually when you're getting into any field or any industry or your first job, you'll never have an idea of how the business actually functions. All right. But in the hyper casual model, we need every single person involved in the business or in the industry or in the cycle of producing games to understand how these games are built, how they are published, what it takes to make a successful game. And so today I'm going to give you a little introduction on what that business model is so that you understand completely what goes into creating a hyper casual game. So, to give you a general understanding first, the hyper casual arena is full of aggressive competition. What we've noticed in the last few years is that the average age of people trying to get into the hyper casual industry, it has dropped significantly. Meaning earlier you had 28, 29, 30-year olds looking to get jobs in hyper casual or start businesses in hyper casual. Now you have 14, 15, 18, 21-year olds who've already made the number one game in the world multiple times. That's how dramatically the age has dropped for people trying to make these types of games, because they're so simple to actually make and they're so simple to play, and they're so, it's easy to understand how you would go about making these types of games. Of course, it's not easy to make the number one game in the world, but we've seen a lot of youngsters come in and do it. There's aggressive competition because there's it's kind of easy to learn the programming it requires to make a hit game. In the process of building hyper casual games, as much as games are about magic and subjectively saying, oh, this game feels so good, I know it's going to be a hit, or what hyper casual games has taught us is that data is king, meaning that we have to put the games out to test before we publish them, test them in the market. And I'll take you through details of how we test them in the market in the next few slides. And only if a game tests well in the market, only then does it actually make it to publishing. Now, if you look at the chart on your right, you'll see a game called Acrylic Nails, which is ranked second. Now, Acrylic Nails is one of the games that we made and published with CrazyLabs in September last year, and it was only second. We finished only second to Among Us during October and November of 2020. So we were second. We were the number two game across pretty much the entire world, and the only game that we couldn't figure out how to beat was Among Us. But despite the aggressive competition, because we took a very data centric approach, we were able to reach this second position. And like I said, I will take you through more details of how we do the testing in hyper casual. In hyper casual, you need to be very quick with how many games you test and how many games you make, because most of the ideas, even most of the ideas that we make, they fail, and only two or three of them will actually ever make it to market. And if you're lucky and if you work hard, those games can become the number one game in the world. um, you need a lot of originality. You need to be very creative because there are so many competitors. Being unique has become very important to hyper casual games. And what you should remember is that when you make a number one hit game, just like the story of our company, it can be a total game changer for you, and it can lead to a whole lot of revenue, whole lot of fame, a whole lot of pride, because you actually made the number one game in the world. Now, we are going to talk a little bit about the process of building hyper casual games. So, before you look at anything that's on your screen right now, I would like for you to hear me out for a couple of minutes. Imagine you are making a movie, all right? And that movie would cost, say, $10 million to produce. But you don't have $10 million, right, to make the whole movie. So, what could be a different approach to check if this movie is actually going to be fun to watch or not? I'll give you an idea. Maybe we can just make the trailer for the movie. Maybe we don't need to shoot the entire movie. Maybe we just shoot the trailer with the important scenes we want to shoot in the trailer. And we shoot this 30-second trailer and we put it out, to let people see it. And if they like it, if most of the people like it, then we'll actually go ahead and spend the $10 million to produce the movie. Now, this is similar to what we do in hyper casual games. For example, if we have a great idea for a game, instead of going out and making the entire game, first we just make the trailer for the game. We make a 30-second trailer for the game. We just make one level, for example, and we film that one level. We either do this in Unity game engine, can do it in any game engine for that matter, and you can actually just record that one level of gameplay and have a trailer ready for your game. Sometimes we don't even make the trailer in a game engine. Sometimes we just animate the trailer in Blender, or we use any other 3D software that allows us to make animations, and we make the gameplay trailer in the form of a video. And we don't do any gameplay programming. We don't do any any coding whatsoever. There's no development work involved. It's just a video sometimes that goes out and gets tested. Now, if you're looking at your screen, I would like you to take a look at the red sections, which is what we'll be talking about today. So once you come up with the pitch for your game, you make the trailer. Now that trailer goes into what we call a CTR test. Now, what is a CTR test? CTR test is simply we'll take the trailer for that game, we'll run an ad campaign on an ad network like Facebook or Instagram or something like that, and we'll check out of 1,000 people who saw the ad, what percentage of those people actually clicked on the ad. And usually we've seen that if more than 3% of people click on the trailer of the game during the CTR test, then that's good enough reason to go ahead and make the entire game. So that is the process that we use. We make the trailer for the game only. We just make the video. Sometimes we don't even make gameplay. We just record. We just show gameplay in the form of a video in Blender. Sometimes we make it in Unity, and we program it and actually have game mechanics there running. We make this 30-second trailer and we run an ad campaign with it to get back what is called a CTR test result. If the CTR test is good, then the game moves on to the next stage of testing, which is the CPI test. The CPI test is very similar to the CTR test, except that now we'll actually publish an app on one of the app stores. We'll publish the game on one of the app stores, and then we'll run this test again to see not just how many people clicked on the ad, but how many people clicked on the ad and installed the game. So obviously, there are four stages of testing: the CTR test, the CPI test. Then in the yellow, you'll see the retention test, and then the second one is the revenue test. The second yellow dash you see is the revenue test. And if a game actually passes all these four stages of testing, then it goes on to become a published game. And then once you get to that published game stage, it could very well become the number one game in the world, similar to what happened with us with our first game, Soap Cutting. So today we only discussed the two stages of testing. There will be another longer session where we go into detail with each step of testing, and we discuss the other two as well. But just so you remember, the important and relevant parts for us today are to understand what is a CTR test and the fact that we are not looking to build entire games, or at least for the most part. We are looking for people with the skill sets to just get us to the CTR test, to help us pass the stage where you require a video trailer. So we need people who can make a video trailer, or we make video trailers almost every day for new games, and we test them out in the market. And if those trailers do well, then we actually go out and make the entire game. So I'm going to pause my presentation for a second just to give you an example of some of the games that we've been talking about. So um, this is our first hit game. It's a game called Soap Cutting. It was based on a YouTube trend, and it's very simple to play. You just swipe up and you swipe down. I'm going to play the video, and when you swipe up and down, it creates these pieces of soap, and it's just a very satisfying experience to play. It falls into a category of games called ASMR, which just give you a very good feeling when you actually play the game. So this was Soap Cutting. As you can see, at the end of the level, there's a little bit of a wow effect because we hide a toy inside, and that toy gets revealed at the end, and you earn different prizes for cutting different soaps. This is an example of another hyper casual game. This is not made by us, but you can see the graphics, the gameplay, everything is very simple, very easy to understand, and anyone could probably pick up and play a game like this. We're going to jump into a few more examples of hyper casual games just now, just so you have an idea of how these videos are made. Now, if you'll notice once more, um, a lot of these games that you see, the games were made as just videos to start with, and they were not made as actual with actual programming involved. So this would just be a video. An ad would run on this video on Facebook. We would check how many clicks are received from this video. If the clicks are great, then hey, we'll go ahead and make the game. Again, you can see very vibrant colors, so very simple kind of graphics. This is one of the top hits of this last year called Cube Surfer. Again, a very simple game, very simple graphics, super easy to pick up and play. So these are some examples of hyper casual games, and I'm just going to jump right back into my presentation now. So we were talking about the process of publishing hyper casual games and the process of testing the trailers. Now, to compare, um, when you look at hyper casual and you see that it's a very new genre of games and it has this new process of making games altogether, let's just compare between traditional casual games and hyper casual games in the last few years. So, just in the last couple of years, we've seen that the number of hyper casual games has become that get released has become equal to the number of casual games. That means even within 2 years, hyper casual has so many games that have published that we've almost equaled the entire casual game market from the last 10 years. The production time for a hyper casual game is very short. It takes about 2 months to get from idea to launch, whereas it takes 18 months for, say, a game like Temple Run or Candy Crush to actually get made, get tested, and get published. The number of people also it takes to make a hyper casual game is very small. Like takes around 3 people. Even our games, our two hit games were made by around 3 people at the max. And in a casual game, for example, you'll have around 15, 20, sometimes 30 people that actually sit around and make the entire game. So it can be done by very small amounts of people in very short amounts of time. Also, the number of downloads that a hyper casual game gets on average is 3 times more than any casual game would get. So, on average, a good hyper casual game should get around 60 million downloads at least. All right. So, this is just an example timeline, just to show you from start to end how quickly you can actually get a hyper casual game made and published. So, in week one, we're just making the video trailer, or what we call a prototype. In week two, we actually start making the game and start making levels for it. In week three, once we've gone through a couple of rounds of testing, we actually show a few more levels, say 30 levels in the game. And by the time we reach week four, we'll probably make 100 levels to get ready for launch and actually put the game out into market. Now, this is what happens if every stage of test is passed. But what happens if you fail a test? How much time do you actually lose? So let's say you pass the first stage of testing, you go into week two, you pass the second stage of testing, but you go into week three and you failed after that. The numbers have the data that's come back is saying this game is not good. So now what happens? Well, it's simple. You just start again. You only spend 2 weeks trying out this game. You try out another game and try out another game and another game and another game. Hyper casual gives us the opportunity to every week, every couple of weeks, keep trying out new games until we actually make a successful game. And I can give you a live example of what happened with me and my co-founder and FireScore Interactive. Is we tried about 12 games, and eventually our 13th game, over the course of a little period of time, was a successful game. And then we started testing many, many, many more games, and eventually we got to our second hit. And now, hopefully, over the next year, we'll be able to produce not just many hits for ourselves, but many hits for all of you as well. Um, to give you an example of the revenue potential of hyper casual games, I will take some examples from CrazyLabs games. Let's look at Soap Cutting, which was our game, which was released on Christmas Day in 2019. Where when we launched, the day we launched, we were the number one game and app in the US on Christmas morning. And then we followed it on with basically topping the charts around the world with 25 countries, where we were the number one game and the number one app. The revenue that the game generated in just 12 short weeks was $5 million. And we're going to try and track now for all these games how long it took each game to make $5 million. So, Soap Cutting was made by 3 people and generated $5 million in revenue in 12 weeks. ASMR slicing generated $5 million in revenue in 7 weeks. Tie dye was 7.5 weeks, and Amaze, another Crazy Labs game, was 8.5 weeks. And you can check out all of these games on the Play Store or the App Store. And as you can see, all these games that generated so much revenue were generated by teams of very few number of people, meaning you don't need that many people to build a hugely successful game, and you can generate a whole lot of revenue. Now, of course, all this revenue doesn't go to the people who made the game. What or the people who made the game, the developer and the publisher will share what is called a profit share. So, on $5 million in revenue, the game would have probably generated around $1 million in profit during that time, and that revenue is what eventually gets split by the publisher and the developer. But as you can see, even generating that kind of profit comes in very short periods of time for hyper casual games. Now, to give you a brief understanding of how we work with studios and how we work with students and how we work across the board with different people who make hyper casual games, Crazy Labs is a top three publisher worldwide, and because of that, we have you know we have knowledge from many years of building hit successful games. We have amazing publishing professionals who are able to help not only studios and companies like us, but also students, freshers, graduates who want to get into the industry and who want to become successful in the industry. We're always active, we always respond, we're happy to answer whatever questions, and we give you full control of whatever game you want to make or what idea you want to try, and what trailers you want to actually build and test out on your own. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about our most successful game so far, called Acrylic Nails. The one I told you was released in September of last year. Acrylic Nails was based on a viral trend on YouTube, where girls were, going online and showing how to make their acrylic nails, how they designed them, how they came up with crazy ideas around them, how they accessorized them and made them look really cool. We had at that time around 12 people in the company working, but only three were working on the game itself. We had a lead programmer, we had one lead artist, and we had my co-founder Karan, who was actually producing and designing the game itself. Um, we got into hyper casual only 1 year ago, really, and in that time we've already produced two hit games. This is our second game, and this was a number one hit. Um, it was the number one hyper casual hit, but it was the number two game in most parts of the world, lagging behind Among Us, which is the only one we couldn't beat. And like I said, it was based on a viral trend that we gamified, and we made a very simplistic game around creating your acrylic nails. Here are some screenshots of what people were posting online and why we decided to make the game. As you can see, there are a lot of likes and views on these videos, which told us that it was a great concept to pursue and that there was already a market for people who like this kind of game. So we thought, hey, why not? Like we made soap cutting on a trend, let's try this one also and try and make it on a trend. Like I said, the challenge was to find the videos online that were popular and actually figure out how to make them a popular game. So as you can see, the video is the video, a screenshot of the video is on top, and the screenshot of the game is at the bottom. So we completely simplified it. We put a finger, we focused all the attention on a finger, and we did all kinds of different things like creating an acrylic nail, filing your nails, painting your nails, designing on top of your nails, and a whole lot more that you can probably play inside the game itself. So this is just an example of how acrylic nails was created. And here's the timeline. It was basically 6 weeks till we from the time we started to the point we launched. The video was approved at first from FireScore, which is my company. CrayzLabs approved the video, who's our publisher. We did the first CTR test, meaning first we only created the video trailer, a 30-second trailer of the game. There was basically very little programming, actual gameplay programming done. We did everything we could to just make it look like the game was very satisfying to play, and we put it out to test. Once we put it out to test, the test results came back amazing, and this told us, hey, we are going to have a super hit game on our hands. And when we found that out, We spent the next 1 month, day and night, trying to get to launch. And when we did get to launch, like I said, we launched the number one hyper casual game worldwide, but the number two casual game or game across the board. This is a little example of what you can do in our game, or all the various possibilities that you can create. Here's one example of a Halloween kind of design that you could create, and all the different features, some of the different features that are available throughout the game. Now, this is the interesting part, and the part I would really like to talk to you guys about. Now, I've spoken briefly, and in the intros also we spoke briefly about the opportunity, and about now we've discussed a little bit about hyper casual games and what it takes, and how the trailer is actually the most important thing. So now, as part of our ongoing growth in India, both as FireScore and as CrayzLabs India, we are actually trying to find the next set of people, of students, of studios, of companies, of individuals who can actually produce hit games like we did. And we are able to provide the training and the knowledge from all our success and from Crazy Labs' experience to help you get to that hit as fast as you possibly can. And that is what the Crazy Labs gaming hubs around the world are going to be about. Crazy Labs already has hubs in Israel, and we are now bringing the Hubs Crazy Hubs program to Mumbai, India. Our first hub is going to be in Mumbai, and it is going to start in April. Now, what is the hub? The hub is a boot camp. It is a 3 month long training program for newcomers in the industry, where we will provide mentorship and professional training both. Here is an example of what the hubs looks like in Israel. We will be replicating what this looks like over here as well in our brand new campus come office, which will be launched along with the hubs in April. We will be teaching all kinds of things as part of the program, like why you should become a hyper casual developer or company, how you can gamify a trend, how do you go about designing and producing a hyper casual game, what are level funnels, marketing, retention, monetization, UI, UX, and a whole lot more. We have an entire syllabus planned. There will be sessions almost every day, and then after each session, you will be given tasks to act on what you've learned to actually go out and build a hyper casual game. And we will, of course, advise you, mentor you, and train you, and hold your hand until you're able to actually produce a hit game. We'll be there for you, just like our publishers were there for us. So, what are the actual details of the program? So, we will have a fun and a very inspiring work environment. Hopefully, I expect that we may even have a game console there for us to play along with learn and train and work. You will have a strong partner in the form of a mobile gaming company with over a decade of experience, and another company in Israel, our publishing partners, which have many hit games over the last 8 to 10 years. You'll have professional training in the field of hyper casual, hands-on guidance from all of us at FireScore, from publishing managers and heads at Crazy Labs. You will receive a fixed monthly payment or stipend. Each person who joins the program will receive a fixed monthly stipend from the hubs, and you will receive that so that you have the comfort to actually come to the hub to learn, and to actually create a hit game. So it will be a form of an internship. Most definitely, it will be a form of training program, an academic program also. And at the same time, if you produce a hit game, like I said, you will have a profit share from from any game that you produce during the time period of the program. Of course, it's not easy. It will be very competitive because there'll be multiple teams within the hub trying to make games, and trying to make hits. But at the same time, it will be fun. You'll get paid. You learn. At the end of the program, you'll come out with a diploma, which will be a Crazy Hub certificate, and it will certify that you were part of this program, which basically made you industry ready to go in and join the hyper casual or the casual game industry with all the knowledge that you've learned here so far. And that's just the worst case scenario, where you get the diploma and you go on your way. And of course, your best case scenario is you make a hit game and you get a huge profit share, from the hit game you produce. Now, usually for a student or a fresher, it might take 5-10 years to make 50 lakhs, 70 lakhs, a crore in 1 year as a salary. But here we're saying you have that chance. If you just work hard, learn what we're telling you, and try a few ideas and be original, you could make that money as a fresher, just having joined the industry. And that it's not just about money. These games are able to touch the lives of 60, 70, 80 million people worldwide, and they can have a huge impact on somebody's lives. Like, for example, our game Soap Cutting was played already by 60, 70 million people, and it is an anti-anxiety game. And we talk about mental health a lot, but I'm so proud that our team was able to make a game that calms people in their times of stress, and it's actually touched the lives of 70 million people around the world. Of course, that's one part of it. The other part of it, the business side, is we made a lot of money from it, and we were able to sustain, keep the company alive, and actually make more hit games. And we want to provide that opportunity for you with all the learnings that we've had so far. So that is what the program is about. There is a link that will be in the description of this talk, which you can click the link. I think it will be in the ticker at the bottom as well. You can click the link, enter your information. The skill sets we are looking for are as follows. We would like to have at least one of two skills that you will need to have. Either you need to be a programmer who can program in Unity, in the Unity game engine, and I mean 3D games, not 2D, not just 2D games, but 3D games. We needed to be able to do the games like we said, like soap cutting, like the characters running, the obstacle course games, the runners. Those are the types of games we need you to be able to program. At the same time, games are, they're two pronged. There's also the art side. So if you have 3D art training, 3D modeling, 3D animation experience or skills, then of course you are more than welcome to register. And thirdly, you could also register as a game designer. However, if you lack the skills of both art and programming, we will pair you up with relevant people during the duration of the program. Now, if you are very interested in this, I would urge you to register as quickly as possible. We will be sending out our first set of welcome emails tomorrow. So tonight would be a good time to register. Grab a friend who you might want to team up with also, and register. Both of you can register as a team. You can register as individuals, and we will call you and we will make sure that you are set up and ready when you become part of the program. Of course, there'll be limited seats available for our first batch. The first batch starts in April, and I would like to just urge you to, if you even if you don't have a portfolio ready, to build out a portfolio as quickly as you can and register for this amazing opportunity. We, like I said, we don't just want to be a company that works for ourselves. We want to make a huge difference to your lives and the lives of anyone who wants to get into the games industry around the country. I do hope that you guys understood the gravity of the chance that we are able to give you today. And if you can't register for the batch starting in April, or if there's any issues or you have exams, just write to us in the description box in the registration, and we will see what accommodations we can make. There will be a second batch of program that will also start in October, and you can also register for that. But I'd say register now so that we have you in our database, and we can call you or email you at the appropriate time. So with that, um, I'd like to just so here's another here's another snippet of the link. Um, Please send in your portfolio along with your registrations, or we will ask you to do a home assignment. It will be used for non-commercial purposes, only to assess how good you are. When you do join the Crazy Hubs, if you do join the Crazy Hubs program, we will be, and you don't have a team yet, we will pair you up with relevant people who you will need in your team to be able to build some of these games. But of course, we urge you to sign up as teams if you can. Register on our portal individually, but and tell us who your team member will be, or register as a team with both of your names included. Ideally, I'd say try and keep your teams down to two people. We will welcome teams with three, but not too many of them. Ideally, it should be just two people. So try and pair up with someone and form a strong team and register for the program. Of course, the program is a physical program, so we'll expect you to come to our office campus in Prabhadevi in Mumbai, and it will be a 3-month long boot camp. And if you are successful, if you're making a hit game, we will even offer you office space to continue working and try and produce even more hit games for another full 6 months if everything is going well. So here's the registration link. It's crazylabs.com/crazyhubs/India. And again, I urge you to register tonight if possible, so that you can receive the welcome email that we'll be sending across tomorrow. All right. So if you do have any questions, of course, please write them out in the chat. I'm going to stop my screen share now, and I'm going to welcome back uh, the guys here now to continue the conversation. Vishal, I think you're on mute.
it, uh, it, it was a great presentation, and I
Thank
hope
you.
everyone understood what this whole scenario is. And it's pretty simple, straightforward. It's not like any twisted gimmick or anything. You register, you get the calls. If you are eligible, you get selected, and then you are into the internship. And if you are able to make a game, hit game, then obviously you will be rewarded accordingly. So that's a great opportunity for all you students, I feel. And I wish that in my college days or my student time, I would have got such kind of an opportunity.
Same here, Vishal. And what I think is that having been, you know, we've gone through the cycle of education here, and
Yes.
tried many opportunities and stuff. And I always wish that we had the guidance and mentorship, and more opportunities to get our independence, or to actually make the games that we want, or the products that we want. And so
Yeah.
here, as soon as we got a chance to provide this opportunity, we jumped at it and we said we have to do this. This would be great
Yeah.
for students. It would be great for India. It would be great just for the ecosystem of game development.
Definitely. And specifically India needs it. Like there is very less exposure, and uh, this kind of opportunities is actually giving students also an exposure, as well as talented people also an exposure. So
Yeah.
great efforts there. So we have a question from Gaurav. Qualification for the internship. So
Yes.
any qualification benchmarks you have?
So we're looking for talented people that have either Unity programming knowledge or the skill set to be able to do Unity programming, or they need to be 3D artists, or modelers, animators, texturing artists. Any kind of 3D experience you have would really help get you into the program. So those are the two main requirements. Um,
All right.
if you are a designer and you don't have those two skills, you can still pair up with a programmer. A programmer is a must in every team, so you can pair up with a programmer and still sign up for the program. You don't even have to have, like, I don't have any programming skills, I don't have any art skills, but if I could team up with a programmer, then I would probably sign up for the program myself.
Great. So there's one more question from Akash Gupta. Is there required to have game related portfolio to apply? I have graphic related work in my portfolio.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as it shows that you can do 3D work, whether it's 3D graphics also, you can show us that. It doesn't have to be related to any games. As long as we know you have the required skills, we can train you and mold you to understand how to make use of your skills for hyper casual games.
Great. Okay, so we have one more question from Dev. What if one does not have experience but looks forward to get some?
So, I would say that try and build skill sets that you need, like either Unity programming or 3D art, and build a portfolio before you apply, because we want people who have the basic skill sets at least. So if you don't have them yet, build the skill sets in the next few months and apply for our next batch. Because we'll be having this throughout. Ideally, I'd like to get as many people involved today as possible. Of course, if you don't have the skill sets, but this opportunity will be available through the course of the year. And it's not just for you, Dave. If it's not you, recommend it to a friend who might find this useful or valuable, because you never know honestly whose life you might change. It may not be yours today, maybe it's yours in 6 months, but maybe you pass this on to a friend who actually makes a hit game and it changes their lives completely. So I would say, even if it's not you and you don't have the skills today, try and find people who it might be useful to, and for yourself build the skill set over the next 3-4 months and then apply again.
Great. So we have one more question from 3D Spiral. It's like not a question, but just a small
Yeah.
thing. I am a game designer and also a 3D artist, so can I join?
Of course, it's perfect. In fact, you have a great combination. If you can even find a programmer very quickly and register along, or have them register also, can pair up and form the perfect team. And then you have a friend who you're working with, more comfortable situation for you, and you all can together make the team and join the hub program.
Great. Uh, there is one more question from Mr. X. Do you guys have hyper casual games only?
Yeah, so yes, we make only hyper casual games. And I'd just like to clarify certain things. When I got into the industry, I wanted to make a console game or AAA games. I was a professional gamer myself and played a very complex 5 versus 5 strategy game called Dota. I used to play it professionally, and that's what made me want to make games, because I was like, I need to make a game like this, which everyone will play. But when I got into the industry, I realized it would take 10 years of getting experience to make that kind of game. So instead, we started making casual games. And now we realized there's an even bigger opportunity. We can make hyper casual games, which can become the number one game in the world, which can make us a lot of revenue. And with that revenue, we can build out a studio, or you can build out a studio, in fact, that actually produces console games or AAA games. And in the process, you learn during making hyper casual games, you learn things about how to make all kinds of games, not just hyper casual, but the skill sets and experience you get. It teaches you everything, including the business side, including management, including art, design, programming. You learn everything across the board while making hyper casual games. So I'd say it's like an entry point. Yes, we make only hyper casual games, but the future, the possibilities are limitless.
Great. We have one more question from Asima. I know 3D modeling and will also know animation, I suppose. Will I get a chance?
Yes, again, 3D modeling, animation, both very useful skills. You will get a chance. Again, when you come in, and if you get selected, you will be paired up with a programmer so that the two of you can collaborate and actually produce. Whether you want to produce a video trailer, whether you want to produce a gameplay trailer, we'll pair you up with somebody who's good, and you can work with them. Again, or just similar to the last question, if you want, you can find a programmer, a friend yourself, and you can register together as a team. And that might be better for you if that's what you want to do.
All right. There is a little off-track question, but I would want you to address this also.
Sure.
If you are a 3D artist, then is there any need of personality development skills? Like,
I would say in life there is always need of personality development skills, regardless of what field you're in, because communication is very important in all fields. Like when I got into the industry, I was very shy. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I was antisocial. I would just do my work. घर जाता हूँ. लेकिन आजकल क्या होता है? There's so much collaboration involved and required that you do need certain level of communication skills, or to be able to communicate your thoughts and ideas across. A programmer needs to be able to talk to an artist needs to be able to talk to a designer needs to be able to talk to a business person needs to be able to talk to all these people to explain
yes,
what the game should be.
yes.
So always personality development required, definitely.
Yeah. There is one more question to our answer what we gave to 3D Spiral, that he is a game designer and he's working on Unreal. So, how should he get into the internship program?
So again, I would say Unreal and Unity are fairly similar in certain ways. There's programming structures kind of remain the same. How you would execute certain things, maybe the commands would be different if you're using a different language, for example. But even if you have Unreal experience, that experience can totally apply to Unity, because if you understand how a game engine works, you generally understand between the two best game engines. You know how the other one could work also, and you could pick it up very quickly. So I'd say yes, definitely applicable, definitely apply. Just put your portfolio link, put your portfolio into a drive folder or something, and attach the link into the registration form.
Great. We have one more question from Yuti. Uh, when will the next opening take place?
So the next opening is scheduled for somewhere around October. In April we'll start our first batch, which will go on to for April, May, and June. We'll stop in June and we'll resume again with a new batch in October. So you can, I'd say, even register now, so that we have you and we can email you. And when we send you the welcome email, you can tell us, hey, I want to register for the next batch, and then we can keep your name, in on the sideline, ready for the next batch, so that nobody else takes your place for that next batch also.
There is one more question from Toon Sheikh. Is there any place for illustrator or any or in character design artist in game developer company, specifically in the CrayzLabs?
So there are lots of, as CrazyLabs is working with lots of game studios around the world, and different studios have different requirements. So I would say in hyper casual specifically, there's not that much need for an illustrator. uh, Sometimes we need concept art created at the beginning of the game, but it's always useful in hyper casual, especially what we've seen is to have additional skills. If your skills are mostly 2D related when it comes to illustration or it comes to concept art, I would say try and pick up some skills in 3D that allow you to execute what you're conceptualizing in a 3D environment. In hyper casual specifically, this will really help as a skill for you to get a job and keep a job here, because 3D is probably the area where we do most of our work. So I'd say, yeah, a casual game company or a console game company or a AAA game company will definitely have lots of use for an illustrator or a character design artist. But in hyper casual, what we usually see is most of the characters are very similar. They are these little red and blue rag dolls, with no face. They just have like a silhouette of a body, and that's about it. So as of now, at least in the market, there's not that much need for character design. But I would say if you can pick up some skills in 3D, then definitely try a few things, build a portfolio, and that could come in useful for hyper casual for sure. Otherwise, go into casual, go into midcore, go into hardcore AAA games. There are lots of companies around the world and in India that are starting to do these types of games also.
Great. So we have one more question from Vaibhav. This question is a little different, but I would also need to. I'll just add in my question also
Yeah.
with it. Like, which are the essential programming languages required for game development, and which are the languages which so as you'll be hiring a developer. So from the language perspective, what are those languages you are trying to uh,
C
look for?
sharp C sharp is the primary language we use on Unity. I think you can use Java also as an alternative, JavaScript that is. And those are primarily the two. If you know basic C sharp, I think game programming isn't too difficult to do the simpler types of games, especially in hyper casual. The running games that we saw a little earlier, fairly simple to learn how to do if you know some basic C sharp. Also, at this point, Unity has become an engine which has a lot of pre-made assets ready. So things like characters, environments, movement, scripts, or you can just attach them, and you have car movement working on your car, or you have a running movement working on your character just by attaching a few scripts and animations. So I'd say basic C sharp is required. The more you know, the better, of course. But yeah, that's what we mainly use in hyper casual, and we work within Unity mostly.
Great. So we are done. I guess we are done with the questions, and I hope all
Fantastic.
the, yes, and I hope all the audience are now clear with the whole thing what's going to happen here. I would request all of you guys to don't wait, just to go ahead and apply for the internship program. And okay,
Most
there's
definitely,
one.
yeah. Okay.
Yes, there's one more question from Tunche. Oh, sorry. That is, what kind of project should I attach in my portfolio?
Any 3D artwork or any programming that you've done, any 3D modeling, any 3D kind of texturing work you've done, any animation work you've done, attach that. Ideally, we want to just get an idea that you can work in the 3D environment, whether it's on the art side or the programming side. And if you can give us that much, any kind of idea of what you can do in that area in your portfolio, that's fantastic. That's what we're looking for.
Great. So I suppose for the Q&A, we should end this thing over here. And so any questions, any questions you have further, we would like to address you. You can put it in the comment box, and our team will get back to you on the comments. There are few questions though. If Surojit, you have time, I would take those two questions also.
Happy to, please.
So one question is from Yuti again. What 3D softwares I need and are best for gaming?
So, we part of hyper casual and why it's so popular is because we use a lot of free softwares to make the games. So we use Unity in general is used for coding and to make the game in the game engine. But otherwise, we use Blender. Blender is again free. Very lots of tutorials out there. Very simple to use. And some of our game trailers are made only in Blender. We don't even touch Unity. So we just do 3D animation. Our lead artist, he's super super talented, but he can just take an idea and make the entire video in Blender. Sometimes we don't need any artwork at all. Our lead programmer, super talented again, will just go and take it in Unity, and he'll go ahead and make the game or make the trailer for the game in Unity itself. So, if you have the skills, you can use either approach. So softwares are mainly Unity and Blender.
So guys, any further questions you have, we'll be happy to answer them. You can put it in the comment section and the team will get back to you. So I think so we are done with our webinar for today, and it was a great pleasure and a very informative webinar, which all happened due to CrayzLabs, Mr. Surojit Roy, and FireScore Interactive. And it was a pleasure having you guys here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vishal. I'd like to really thank Frameboxx for this opportunity to, talk to the students. I love that you guys, the work you guys are doing and the training that you guys are doing across the board. It's been a pleasure. And, I'd just like to reiterate once more, guys, it's a huge opportunity. We are here to help you and to answer any doubts you have. So please, message Vishal and he'll get in touch with us, or you can contact us directly also. I'll leave my email address with Vishal as well. And, you guys can just ask whatever questions you have and clear your doubts. I would remind you to try and register tonight so that you get the email from our first batch of welcome emails that goes out tomorrow. Registration will be open for a couple of weeks, but the sooner the better, definitely.
Great. Thank you, Surojit. Thank you for giving us the time and spreading such an important thing with our student. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.